It's been over 72 hours since the most shocking trade of our lifetime happened. It's real, confirmed, certified, verified. There hasn't been as much buzz from players switching teams since 2019 free agency. Just as the league struggled marketing their international megastars, the best guys being in small markets, not willing to demand out. As far as we know, the most powerful orders of the National Basketball Association took matters into their own hands, changing any negative narrative overnight, wasting no time, creating new ones, distracting everybody from the horrendous ratings. Not a very anticipated 2024 finals between Dallas and Boston. Despite how amazing Luka's talents are, him and Kyrie on the Mavs doesn't hit the same as Bron vs Steph in the finals a decade ago. From the load management disasters, the new faces of pure American stars being questioned, from the failed hype of the disappointing Zion Williamson, constant weight issues, never wanted to be in New Orleans. 6 years later, still with the Pelicans. It's the start of February. The lazy #1 pick still hasn't played 200 total NBA games. What else is new? John Morant's stock fallen after last season's injury, still hasn't been his 2022 and 23 self, was gonna be labeled one of the new faces of the league, but in small market Memphis, plus the off-court troubles, despite the insane highlights and Jordan-esque finishes, now labeled just another star. Ja might not even be the greatest franchise player going forward, with Jarrett Jackson Jr. continuing to get better, while Anthony Edwards was supposed to be crowned next, before getting a taste of pure greatness when Luka obliterated his Timberwolves, showing him there's levels to this game from top 10 caliber to the best player in the world conversations. Now without Karl Anthony Towns, Minnesota potentially might not even make the postseason. All three of these young high flyers have the most insane highlight packages, but not humble enough, refusing to compete in the dunk contest, one of the main reasons for Saturday All-Star Weekend failures. This generation young stars think they're too cool to participate in such an event when some of the best players of their generations in past years performed to the highest of levels, giving fans what they wanted. Don't let the Luka distraction make you forget about this year's awful dunk contest participants. Matt McClung still a G League guy, Steven Castle promising rookie. The other two, many never even heard of. We all know what the results will be. Many will tune out after the 3-point shootout. From having something to talk about the next several weeks until the disastrous, nonsensical BS of a travesty all-star format, league office just continues making things more difficult. After last year's Sunday game disaster, the NBA already had its issues, from players taking too many 3-point shots, game drastically changing, fans getting bored, freestyle high-scoring basketball, lack of regular season defense played. It's been like this for years, since 2017, but given the player empowerment era, from multiple disgruntled superstar after another, non-stop player movement, all we ever talk about was, oh, where's Kevin Durant going? Or Kawhi Leonard? Or who's going to play with LeBron next? Which one of Bron's teammates needs to be traded? The obsession of possible big three scenarios, 99% of what was focused, creating and imagining narratives that make certain fan bases feel good. From mainstream media, typical First Take and Undisputed, only a couple podcasts and few YouTubers like myself talk about the NBA from a game perspective. Being a 24/7 news cycle, Doncic to the Lakers must mean somebody just as big like Giannis possibly going to the Warriors, or Jokic might take his talents to the Knicks. He might even team up with Luka soon, who knows? For the past decade, many became obsessed with talking about a certain star player to play for this team next and so on for years until it actually never happens. At the end of the day, the league's about empowering big markets like the Lakers, Celtics, and whichever city has relevant contenders, trying to bring the very best players to those cities. Since the start of the Magic Johnson Larry Bird era, both arguably saved the league forever, turned the NBA to multi-billion-dollar businesses, smoothly transitioning to the iconic Michael Jordan. League wasn't the same when he briefly retired. Despite the parody, the NBA desperately missed him, only to come back with another three-peat. After a terrible lockout and an awful 99 season, the transition to Kobe and Shaq's Lakers couldn't have worked out more perfectly. From the Kobes, Vince Carters, McGrady's, and Allen Iversons of the world throughout the early to mid 2000s, Then came the next wave of superstars, LeBron, Melo, and D-Wade. After 2013, league was in a bit of trouble again. When the 2000 stars started to fade out, it was all Bron and KD, followed by CP3. Then came the magical transcendent Steph Curry and the next NBA dynasty Golden State, 5 straight trips to the finals, 6 in 9 years, non-stop arguments and debates. Before those topics got old, Bron became a dynasty himself in the Eastern Conference. Then came the no real dynasty era. Drama started to die out. Last 6 years, 6 different champions resulted in 6 different teams. 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic doesn't like being the center of attention. Giannis remaining in Milwaukee. Lakers needed to be relevant post-LeBron. Basketball life-changing decisions. The league wasted absolutely no time securing a 26-year-old megastar despite his early accomplishments, moving Doncic out of Dallas, perhaps relocating to Vegas for financial reasons not talked about. The NBA just decided he was the one. Given his extraordinary playmaking ability like Magic Johnson, the ball fix, strength, and bruising body like Larry Bird, the most complete, polished offensive package we arguably ever seen, without the athleticism or defense of course. No player is truly perfect. The league failed for years trying to have LeBron pass the torch to somebody else. He already has that new teammate. League making sure the talent and superstar fame in good hands. Given the new TV deals, by the time this decade's coming to an end, the Bronze, Currys, and Durant will be retired. NBA simply can't afford a decorated franchise like the Lakers to be bad after James's departure. Knowing AD's gonna slow down, already up there with age. Even the post-Shaq years, Lakers mid for a couple years with prime Kobe. Then came the Pau Gasol trade, the closest thing to a high-rate basketball robbery. League needed the big markets to challenge San Antonio out west, immediately leading to a Lakers-Celtics finals matchup. After a disgusting Cleveland-San Antonio 07 finals, changes were absolutely necessary. Just like when Bron didn't make the playoffs his first year in the City of Angels, grabbing another star to make them instant contenders guaranteed to happen. How ironic. Lakers won the coin flip for the 1979 draft, pairing up Michigan State's prodigy Earvin Magic Johnson with the game's best player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The franchise smart enough getting number 1 pick James Worthy after winning their second title in 3 years. We all talk about the battles between Magic versus Larry, but nobody mentions the geniuses behind the scenes making all the magic happen. You thought it'd be a coincidence? Boston getting Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, not knowing if they'd be good or not? Any Lakers vs Celtics formula? Regardless of the other teams, already a huge success in the NBA. Another one of those finals before the end of the decade, inevitable at this point. Many haven't even had time to process the De'Aaron Fox trade to the Spurs. The franchise reminds everybody being a first-class organization, rebuilding at the perfect time, landing the perfect franchise player. From the crazy Jeremy Sohan point guard laughs last season, team got serious real quick. Scamming Sacramento, a 3-team trade involving the awfully run Kings and dysfunctional Bulls, bad teams continuously making bad decisions, nothing new as usual, having control of their first round picks, giving up fake all-star DeJounte Murray in order to land Wemby, absolute genius. Many future playoff series with Luka's Lakers versus Wemby Spurs, just like the 2000s Kobe vs Duncan times, the Western Conference we witnessed growing up about to be back, extending classic rivalries. We all knew it was a matter of time before San Antonio became good again. Still having key players, Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, not even having to sacrifice their core, CP3's excellence as a vet, always meshing with other young point guards. They only basically gave up Zach Collins, who's mid. The culture of the franchise remains as strong as ever, a team to be reckoned with for a long time. Fox looking to make his best Tony Parker impression as to Wemby's Duncan. The absolute travesty Kings, reuniting Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, the king of Eastern Conference play-ins. How mid? Let's run it back. Both a few years older, defensive liabilities. Fox was the guy proven to be a good playoff performer, did his part, averaged 27s, with a fractured finger, took the defending champs to 7. Zach, on the other hand, been in the league over a decade. 1 playoff series, 4 games, 19 points average on a max contract, an absolute travesty of a result. From 16-year drought to 1 good regular season to making sudden changes again, another drought countdown on the horizon. Nikola Vucevic stuck in shambles. Bulls extended Lonzo Ball 2 years, $20 million. They've been stuck mid for how long now? Same owner, same cheapness, same results, same shit every year. Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal, biggest franchise destroyer of the year, refusing to waive his no-trade clause, is now evident the worst no-trade clause in league history. Might force the team to have to trade Kevin Durant. Phoenix should have never traded for him. A decision forever ruined in shambles. Could also mean the end of Devin Booker being the most overpaid, overrated player for years. Likely ruin Jimmy Butler's dreams. The devastating impact considering giving borderline stars a no trade clause, just absolutely stupid. The dumbest rule being applied, even having teams dumb enough trading for him. The Wizards and Suns, Mr. Dumb and Dumber, showing he only cares about the money, content with being stuck on a mid team. He showed that in Washington. Jimmy Butler nightmare finally over. Pat Riley reminding us all he gets the last laugh, failing to initiate a Phoenix deal. Jimmy supposedly declined an offer to Golden State, but now on to Dub Nation. Warriors in their last desperation attempt trying to make Steph happy, but the reality is they trying to remain decent until things completely fall apart. How is the 35-year-old gonna help the team? In a much more loaded conference, the legacy surrounding Jimmy will be one of the most interesting, being a super locked-in playoff performer with all-time performances and probably getting out the play-ins and making finals appearance, but a regular season coaster. If he continues coasting now till April, Golden State might not even get out the play-in. Already tarnished his image a bit, believing he's earned the right to act however he wants when he's clearly not at the same level of a Giannis, LeBron, or Jokic. Just like his Minnesota situation, bullied the heck out of the franchise to demand out, but he didn't fully bully heat culture. For a guy who's also injury prone, wasn't even qualified for All-NBA the last couple seasons, averaging 17 points a game, having a massive ego, throwing temper tantrums, signed a 2-year, 120 plus extension. His past accomplishments deserves props, but 2023, 2 years ago, the league keeps moving on and Butler appears to be slowing down, way past his prime, ruined his relationship with Miami to the point he probably won't get his number 22 retired. Dennis Schroeder, comparing trade deadlines to modern day slavery, one of those role players who sounds like a good idea, only to be passed around like a blunt. No worse place to end up than Salt Lake City, Utah. Not a very welcoming Black History Month for the 31-year-old. Andrew Wiggins, being most beloved for Golden State than Jimmy for Miami, given how hostile things ended, he'll be alright. Kevin Durant being on the trade block for how many times now? Every couple years, always unhappy, an all-time great talent, but what's his legacy? Superstar journeyman? His reputation remains not being able to win without Steph. Ever since 2019, KD's spot in the all-time player rankings hasn't changed much despite all the awards, consistent averages year after year. The stain on his legacy always remains his questionable leadership. It's more likely than ever wanted absolutely nothing to do with Golden State since he'll always fall in Steph's shadows. The NBA is always more entertaining when KD's name gets in the trade market. Same old KD there. A super complicated legacy. Does he even get a statue for any team he's played for? Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma? Milwaukee wanted to get younger, but doesn't seem like an upgrade. It's only a matter of time till teams runs out of ideas, until Giannis demands out, hits to a big market. Getting rid of AJ Johnson to make this deal, franchise simply don't have enough to compete against Boston. Giannis' greatness will continue being relied upon. Lakers finally getting a nice big in Mark Williams from Charlotte, injury prone, but a shocking 9-9 standing reach, a lot dread, 15 and 10 numbers in Charlotte. LA with Luka and LeBron in the mix of Western Conference contention. The New Orleans Pelicans, second worst team in their conference, still has injury prone Brandon Ingram, the best player nobody wants besides Toronto. The pathetic Pelicans went from saying they wouldn't trade him for Kevin Durant years ago, resulting in 0 playoff series wins, no cap space. At least he won't walk away for absolutely nothing. So much for losing the Anthony Davis trade. All they got, Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, an absolute pathetic travesty of a franchise. They'll likely never win a title in our lifetime.